The logical AND operator versus the ternary operator. You have to choose between these two when it comes to conditional rendering in React. Well, sure, there are a few more ways to solve this, but logical AND and ternary operators are often used in this case. But there are developers who say that you really shouldn't use the logical AND operator because it has a major flaw. In this video I want to talk about exactly what that is and whether you really should not use the logical AND operator. First, just so we are all on the same page, what do I mean by conditional rendering? Conditional rendering means that a React component, or basically any JSX fragment, is rendered only when a certain condition is met. Like in this example, I have a paragraph and I want this paragraph to render only when the checkbox is checked. And I solved this by using the logical AND operator, because that is how I learned it. First the condition, then the do ands, and then the JSX code to render when the condition evaluates to true. Simple as that. Recently, however, I have read a few articles on the subject where it was mentioned that you should be careful with the logical AND operator in conditional rendering, or that you should not use it at all. And at first I didn't understand it because, as I said, I always use conditional rendering like this and never had any problems. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that you might run into trouble if your condition does not evaluate to an actual Boolean value. Take a look at this example. I have a simple list of strings where I can add entries, and when there are entries in the list, I want to show this delete all button. So I used the logical AND operator to show the button only if the length of the string array is not 0. And since 0 is a false value, I can just write it like that, right? Well, yes, but actually no, because if the list is empty, the button is not rendered, which is correct. But the 0, which is the length of the array, is rendered as well, and of course we don't want that. The aforementioned articles I read about this problem concluded that because of this you should not use the logical AND operator at all, and should go for the ternary operator instead. In our example this would look like this. As we can see, it works fine again. But I must say that I never use the ternary operator for conditional rendering. I always work with the logical AND operator. I think using the ternary operator here has a bad impact on readability, because you have to add null after the JSX fragment, and I don't really like that. Maybe this is a matter of personal taste. And in our example we could also work with logical AND. We just have to do it the right way. We have problems because the condition does not evaluate to a Boolean expression. And if you fix that, it works perfectly again. When I work with React, I always make sure to have a condition that results in a Boolean value, so I never ran into this problem. Perhaps this is due, at least in part, to the fact that I always work with TypeScript. So I think the conclusion should not be to completely abandon the logical AND operator for conditional rendering. We just need to be aware of the potential problems, the ways to solve those problems, and the alternatives you have. What do you think? How do you approach conditional rendering in React? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please click the like button if you liked this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Bye bye.